Hello. Supposed to be a great night. It was supposed to be one I was all pumped up, ready to talk about how great they're playing and what a great pair of games that was, and Dad's trip and all these different things. And then the third period comes and we get the one thing you don't want in a 5-1 game, and that's someone getting hurt. It ends up being the goalie sprawling out on a play. I don't know what to make of what Cassidy just said, saying he needs an MRI. We'll see whether that's tear, strain, whatever it happens to be, to whatever ends up happening. Guess we'll have to wait and find out more on that tomorrow. But we'll start with the good part. We'll start with the game itself. And heck of a game, exactly what you want to do. You're playing a team on a back-to-back. You're playing a team that's struggling to score. You're in a good position to get some things done here. It's a good situation to step forward and make something happen. And the Golden Knights did exactly that. You got to love those first 10 minutes. They're all over them offensively, willing to put the puck in deep, willing to take shots from different areas. They end up getting a kind of a goofy hop that goes in. Fortunate bounce. You'll take that one. But really, you look at that first 10 minutes and it really did feel like the Golden Knights are playing the style of game that you want to see, the type of thing that you need to see to be able to get off to a quick start in a game that I thought they needed to get off to a quick start. You did not want to drop behind in that game and kind of give Minnesota life. So to be able to go ahead and get that done, I thought all four lines were doing the right things early in the game. They get the goal from the fourth line. All four of them are kind of willing to put the puck in deep, willing to kind of find a way to get Minnesota to back off a little bit. And then after the goal, it kind of evened out a little bit more. I thought Minnesota had the better chances. What was happening is both teams were throwing the puck in deep, and it was kind of backing both teams' defense off. You go back there and get it over and over and over again. You start to cheat a little bit and say, I'm going to start backing off the blue line a little bit, waiting for them to throw it in. That's when you start getting controlled entries. When the Golden Knights were giving up those controlled entries, that's when we started to see more opportunities for Minnesota. But they stayed to the inside. Vegas defensively, they were pretty good cleaning up in front of the goal, especially at 5-on-5. Obviously, the power play goal, not as good. But then when we get in, so that kind of fell apart a little bit at the end of the first period. You come out in the second, they get right back to it. The exact style of play you want, exactly the type of game you want. You get what you need there, and you get on the board to take that lead back or to go up 2-0. To give yourself a really good position to really say, all right, now we can just play the right style of game. Minnesota will hand us opportunities. And from there, that's what we saw. Obviously, the Foligno turnover is the one that the Golden Knights were opportunistic on that one. Then you get rush chance after rush chance after rush chance. And we know the Golden Knights are going to bury you if you end up getting these opportunities over and over and over again. So that's exactly what they did. When you really look at the two games, last game on Tuesday, this game today, 5-1 in both of them. I don't think that the Golden Knights are 4 goals better than Nashville and Minnesota, especially on the road, whatever. That's not a big deal. But what they are doing is they're, again, establishing the fact that if you do not play a buttoned up, very solid, structured game against the Golden Knights, if they're anything close to healthy, they're going to smoke you. That's a good sign. That is a really good thing to say this team has a shot still, a good shot still to make the playoffs. They're in a good position because there are going to be teams that come into T-Mobile. There are going to be games the Golden Knights go on the road and play where they're not going to get that buttoned up performance. The next step will continue to be, how do you make sure that you are getting through some of these situations where there are teams playing the right way against the Golden Knights. And when we do start getting into that tighter, that playoff style hockey, I don't think we necessarily saw that outside of maybe the course of the first period. I do think the first period was kind of being played that way. And then the turnover started to open. The good news again, though, is that when the Golden Knights get leads, especially on the road, and Cassidy's kind of talked about this in the past, that it seems like teams chase a little bit more when they're at home than when they're on the road. When you're at home, you feel like you have to get yourself back into the game. You can't go too far behind. You don't want your fans up against you. So they push a little bit more. We see the mistakes a little bit more. Golden Knights are good at creating those turnovers, zipping the puck through the neutral zone, getting those opportunities quickly. That's good. That is a piece that certainly, if they can find their way ahead, and you can start to push these teams to do those types of things, they are going to be able to have that success no matter who they play against, no matter when they play these games. Doesn't really make a difference. So that is something that you want to keep pulling along. The problem is when they do go behind, when the game is tighter, it didn't really feel to me like that first period was a dominant period. And now hearing Cassidy talk about it, and I don't know where he's at on the Thompson injury and how much that kind of soured his night, but he did kind of downplay how great they played in this game. I thought this game was much better than the last game. I thought they were the reason, Vegas were the reason why Minnesota struggled in this game, why they were creating those turnovers, why they were winning these races to the front on the rush chances, these opportunities. I thought that was because the Golden Knights were taking the puck away. They were making the right play through the neutral zone. They were set up defensively. They did the right things across the board that generated these opportunities that when the mistakes are there, you're in a position to actually go ahead and score them. The last game, I thought Nashville was just terrible. I thought most of the goals that the Golden Knights got, they were absolutely just handed to them. And it was really just Nashville was unable to do much of anything. The Golden Knights did a good job of making sure that they didn't help Nashville get out of that. That's a good piece of that. But that's not a game that I'm looking at saying, that's gonna move forward. There are pieces of this one that I do like. I definitely like that Eichel. You see him on the rush again. You see him creating that opportunity to Cotter. I like the confidence that you see in that play. That's the type of play that we haven't necessarily seen from him, that some of those plays he's been trying to make some of those, and they end up going wayward, or they clear the zone, or he ends up taking a shot that he maybe didn't want to take when he wanted to pass. He felt confident going in there, or at least he looked at going in, makes the play, Cotter buries it. Good job, Cotter, staying with that play, getting to the front of the goal, making sure that he doesn't lose that stick battle that he very well could have, and it could have been another one off of Eichel's stick. Then you get the break. He's got a 2-on-1, clearly an opportunity to shoot, buries that. You'll take that. That's starting to get him going in the right direction. That being said, their rush chances. Are they going to continue coming if we end up having some games in this near future that are not rush style games? We'll see. Good news is they play two bad teams in the next couple of games. Then once you get ahead, now you can kind of force these chances, force these pushes. We will see. Like I said, we will see. I think that they caught Minnesota at the absolute perfect time. They can't score. They're not doing much of anything right. They're not controlling the puck at all. And really, Cassidy's comment that I tweeted out saying, we're a really good team when we manage the puck well. That is a part of having the sixth defenseman back in. They do manage the puck a little bit better. However, these are not two games that they got like dominant forechecks against them. These are not two high-scoring teams. These are not two teams that are going to make you pay when you make these little mistakes. The Golden Knights did make mistakes at the back end of the first period. They made a bunch of mistakes in that Nashville game that Nashville just wasn't clean enough to make anything happen. So, again, I do agree if they're going to be the team that manages the puck just a little bit better, doesn't even have to be that much better. If they're a little bit better, things are going to probably go their way. Dad's trip, I put that on the bottom. I think that's a real thing. Like, I think there's no doubt that with the dads in the building, they play better. Like, I don't know if it's more focus, if it's more of a team-oriented type of game. I don't know. I don't have a good answer as to absolutely why they play better. I would have to imagine that it's just flat out, you want to give it absolutely everything you have for these two games when you know the dads are in town. And I think it's more of like a pride thing, that you have your dad up there amongst all of the other ones, or brother, or whoever it happens to be. And what you want to do is you want him to be the hero up there. So you need to make the right play down on the ice down here and make something happen. I definitely think that there is something to be said about that. The good news, and I'm going to write this for tomorrow, they typically utilize these. Like the last time they went on Dad's trip, they lost a game, but then they came back. They lost a couple games after that, but they won a bunch after. Other than that, the first two Dad's trips, they started winning streaks. So that is a good thing. Definitely what we want to see. This Periscope and all Periscopes are brought to you by Conler & Associates CPAs. Tax time is here. We are less, I think it's a little more than 2 months away from the tax time. You have to get your taxes in. Definitely, if you need any help with your taxes, go to condlercpa.com, Kondler, CPA.com. Tell them SinBin sent you. They'll hook you up with a free consultation. They are tremendous over there. Business taxes, crypto taxes, gambling taxes, all that good stuff. Or if you just have simple stuff that you want their help, they are fantastic. Big Golden Knights fan. Promise you they're pumped about these last 2 games. On to the injury. So obviously it didn't look good. I don't know necessarily what to make of it because I'm not very good at seeing these and guessing. I texted Dr. Pinniger. We have not heard back from him, so I don't know what he'll have to say on that. He's usually not big on guessing until we get a little bit more information. The note from Cassidy was that he saw him moving around in the locker room. I don't really know what to make of that. I think if you have a torn ligament, you can move around. I don't think that that's like impossible. We don't know necessarily how much pain was going on there. We don't know. So I don't want to dig too much into that. Saying he's getting an MRI tomorrow, basically we just have to hold our breaths there and hope it's not anything too bad. As for what happens in the interim, whether it's short term, say a couple of days, couple of games, whatever, or long term, clearly Brossoit is going to come up. They're going to have the 10-day emergency situation there. So I think they'd basically be able to find their way through 20 games without having to put him back through waivers. That also, they have enough cap space that they could hold 3 goalies for basically the rest of the season. So they're not in much of a position where they have to worry about Brossoit going back down or whatever. The only thing there would be if they go to 3 goalies and Thompson ends up healthy, you now have 3 goalies in practice. You can't necessarily get one back. We'll see. I'm not too worried about that. Not that big a deal. As for how does it go, I think they would probably lean a little bit on Hill at the beginning. Obviously, Hill has been pretty good. He hasn't been great, but he's been pretty good in the NHL for the Golden Knights so far. We haven't seen anything of Brossoit in the NHL. I don't want to read much into the AHL numbers at all because the Silver Knights are terrible. If you look at the standings, the Silver Knights are one of the worst teams in the league. In the worst division in the league, they're horrible. So what that actually says about the goalie in the goal behind them, I don't want to go too overboard about that. We know what we have seen in the past of Brossoit. He certainly can be a capable backup. He certainly can step in and get the job done. I think that the history of what we've seen to this point of Thompson, I think it's been a little bit overblown of saying he's that much better than Hill or than Brossoit. So I don't think that if there was a place that they could deal with an injury, they're actually set up to deal with this one a little bit better. The challenge is it has seemed like if they're going to get the best game out of someone, it has seemed like it's going to come from Thompson. So if you were going to go on that long playoff run, it does seem like it probably needed to be Thompson. If you're going to pick one of them, it did seem like that was the direction that it was going to go. And if he's suddenly out for the rest of the season, I don't necessarily know that they would stick with the 2 that they have. I think they might actually go out and look at goalies. There's not a lot out there, so I don't think they're getting anything too good. And I don't necessarily think they should be going that direction, but it wouldn't shock me if we end up going down that direction. I don't think they're going to get Demko. I'm seeing Demko's name on the chat over here. I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think Vancouver would give him to him anyway, nor do I think the price would actually work out. I just don't see that happening. So that's not good. If anyone has questions, go ahead and pop in there. I don't really have much else to say, basically because I didn't watch one of the periods. I will admit that. What's this one say? Ken, I know you don't want the front office to buy, but if they do, who would be your pick? Well, it's hard to say because, like, I don't know that anyone's going to make enough of a difference that we're actually going to see a huge change in what we want to see. Like, if they turn the puck over, whoever they bring in, isn't going to help them get out from underneath of this. I'll just answer this quickly. I didn't watch the third period because I don't care. When it's 5-1 and the goalie's hurt, I start working on other things, trying to get the video posted, trying to find that, figure out what's going on there, deal with some of the other stuff that I do after the game. It's 5-1. Neither team gives a damn at that point. There's nothing to gain from those games. Back to the front office and what I would want them to buy. Like, I guess the simplest way I would put it is I would want something. If you're going to buy, I want something that's going to help you next season and beyond. I'm not focused on these next 30 games. If good things happen in the next 30 games and on into the playoffs, fantastic. That's awesome. If they don't, we have to have planned on that to be the case and be ready for that moving forward. I guess it would be someone with some sort of term or someone they can move forward with. I do not want anybody in the $8, $9, $10 million range. So I know that the Timo Meier thing is kind of floating around out there, and that would, I think, cost 3 first-round picks. I think he's the cost of Eichel. I can't imagine that they want to go down 6 first-round picks over the course of 2 trades. I just don't see that making sense. Like, and I know Tuck's a long wait away for a first-round pick, but whatever the equivalent is, it's basically what it's going to be. And then my bigger problem is I just don't know how you're going to end up with a team that has 4 guys making 40+% of your salary cap. I just don't see how that's going to work. Doesn't make sense to me. So I guess I would rather they land with some $2 million, $3 million, $4 million players for the future and find a way to make that work. Where was this one? What's for dinner? I already ate. I had cereal during the game. It was s'mores cereal, and it was delicious. Some sort of combination of like Cocoa Puffs, Golden Grams, and Lucky Charms marshmallows. It was great. Fantastic. I would love Dylan Larkin. I don't think Dylan Larkin's going to be an option. I don't think the price on Dylan Larkin's going to work. And Dylan Larkin, again, would probably fall into that. I'd have to look up his contract, but he's going to end up falling into that massive amount. Dylan Larkin's an excellent player. I really love Dylan Larkin. And I think hockey's an 18-man sport. You know, you have to have 18 good skaters. You got to have a good goalie. So it's a 19-man sport, 20, whatever. I just don't think that any team, and this is including, say, Toronto, they have 4 players that are making a ridiculous amount of their salary cap. I don't think that that's a way for it to work. And in this, I got to give a name. I don't have one. I really do not have one. Like, I look at the entire trade market. I look at all of the different options, and there's drawbacks on all of them, whether it's price that it's going to cost to acquire them, whether that's what it's going to cost to keep them, how long they're going to be around, the age, the potential of the injuries. Like this one, Nola Chari, everyone loves Nola Chari. I promise you, Nola Chari will walk into this lineup and you won't notice Nola Chari's even on the team. Like, Nola Chari is not going to be a changer in what they're going to do. Like, he's not much better than a lot of the players that we have already. And then when they go into their scoring issues, when that's inevitably going to come up again, everyone's going to be like, well, they acquired Nola Chari. Why is he not scoring? He doesn't. That's not what he does. So I don't really understand that. If they had Mark Stone, and if they were playing at a level where they're scoring 4 goals a night like they've been the last 2, but doing that over 20 game span, okay, now I want Nola Chari. Now I want Ivan Barbashev. Okay, fine. For now, I don't think I want them. I don't think it costs all that much. You'd have to re-sign them. I don't think we're needing to re-sign another 30-plus-year-old guy. They've got to find a way to start going backwards and younger. Start getting younger. Start finding ways to have younger players, lower salaries, and more of them in the mix so that when you have your inevitable injuries over the course of the season and into the postseason, you can deal with it. We're 30 games left in the season now. They're not going to have the same lineup all the way through. There will be more injuries. This is the NHL. These are the Golden Knights. There will be more of them. They have to be able to overcome them, and that's how you have to start looking at building your team out for the future, not necessarily for these 30 games. I'm going to keep saying this until I'm red in the face or blue in the face or whatever until March 3rd. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not going to celebrate it if they don't sell, or if they don't buy or don't sell, they have to start finding a way to push towards the future. And I don't know, like, I guess maybe I would celebrate a complete sales job, mainly because it would be some sort of acknowledgement that there's a chance to win down the road. I don't know that throwing everything all into this game, that this team is going to do it. We'll see. I don't know. I think that's all I got for today. We're back to we always end up back on the trade deadline thing, and I'm going to keep saying the same thing. I don't know how to change my opinion. And no, 2 5-1 wins on the road during Dad's trip against two teams that are scuffling don't necessarily, it doesn't do it for me. Now, those are huge wins to help them get into the playoffs. Like, those 2 wins are massive in getting them into the playoffs. Like, one of those teams may finish in the top 3, probably. I would imagine Minnesota will. Nashville's probably done. So now you're looking at just basically the 5 teams in the Pacific. And they should be able to be stick in the middle of that. So playoffs look much better now than they did at the break. So that's certainly good. But do you have a team that's actually going to make it happen? Not sure. Not sure about that. I'll answer this one before I go, because I don't think I'm going to do another one of these before that. I think the Chiefs are going to win. I've seen a lot of Eagles stuff. I really do think that the Chiefs are going to win. I don't buy the Eagles season. They haven't beat many good teams. I know they have beaten teams with winning records, but look at the schedule. They haven't beat many very good teams. And their walk to the Super Bowl was insanely easy. Like, hard to believe how easy it was. I think they're going to run into a team that's actually good at football, and they're going to struggle. They're going to run into a quarterback that's actually good at playing quarterback, and they're going to struggle. High-scoring game. I think the Eagles score a lot. I think the Eagles run the ball a lot. I think the Eagles are successful moving it. High-scoring game, but I will take Kansas City by 7. That's it.